winner of our Stumberg Prize here in 2019. So the program started in 2015 with our first 5 teams. It starts with students submitting the idea as part of a platform. We've had some great success in our 4 cohorts who've gone previously. All of our #1 winners have gone off and started their companies and been really successful at their businesses. We find that our program has a really high success rate. So for those companies that are in our program, they last a year, 2 years, 3 years post the program to have real operating business. We've had a number of students now who've gone on and graduated and worked for the companies that they started themselves had while they were students here at Trinity. There's lots of elements that lead to sort of this individual team success. The first has to do with we take the work that they're doing actually quite seriously, and our students do as well. So the opportunity to then really build on building a real sustainable business, on sort of then applying that work and trying to find like the right fit for their product or service and a customer is something that sort of is the hallmark of the work that we do. So the first part is that our students are all in. They're working hard on building a business and building a nonprofit. The second reason for why it is that we've seen some success is that we've got this really strong mentoring component that's an integral part of our program. So we've got 64 people from all over the United States, primarily from San Antonio, who come and engage with our program during the course of our summer accelerator. Our students are meeting other entrepreneurs, they're meeting service providers, they're meeting investors, they're meeting potential customers, they're meeting manufacturers as part of this program in a very deliberate, staged way that enable them to go ahead and build a real business overall. The third reason is that we're providing that early stage capital for a lot of these companies. And so for many of our students, regardless of whether or not they've got the means or don't have the means to start a business, having that ability to sort of take $5,000, $25,000 to then apply to start their own business, we think is an aspect sort of that is successful for our program. And then lastly, one aspect that I think is really an important part of our program is it's actually right here in San Antonio. So our program connects you to the people who are here in San Antonio that are doing business, that are in the same space. They may be potential partners, they may be potential service providers, they may be potential collaborators. And so what's really exciting about San Antonio as an ecosystem is that almost any different kind of business is actually present here in the San Antonio metropolitan area. So our ability to connect you, regardless of whether or not you're starting a tech company or a taco truck, to other people that also have a taco truck or a tech company, and connecting and building part of that community here in San Antonio, we think is part of the reason why our program has had some success. We've seen the level of sophistication of the sort of initiatives and the ventures that students are approaching us with increases each year. Every year we've got students who've been working on their concept perhaps for a year or 2 years before they actually approach that competition stage here for our new venture competition. So we find that the ideas get more sophisticated, there's more traction. Some companies are seeing real sales, or they actually have a potential real product that's part of what's going on. That's been something that's been very exciting for us. The other thing that's been really exciting is that it really is a diverse applicant pool. We have students from every single major, engineering and business, as well as arts and music and biochemistry and biology, from the humanities, from the social sciences that are part of the program that we're doing. Because we don't care about what kind of venture it is that students start, we want them to start their first venture with us. So as long as you're committed to starting something for real for the first time, you're open. So we're industry agnostic with regard to the kind of companies or the type, whether it be a for-profit or a nonprofit that people are working on. We also don't care what kind of stage that students get engaged in as part of the venture competition. So we've had students launch their companies as early as the end of the first semester of their first year to their last semester here at Trinity when they're ready to graduate. And we think that those kind of elements sort of make the program really exciting. We've got students that may be working on a concept starting in their first year who might come and apply in later years, or students that are seniors that have been working on a concept for multiple years that lead to the success. So that diversity of having all sorts of different majors, that diversity of having students from every level is in part where we're sort of excited about the development that we're seeing, and part of the reason why we've got such strong teams going into the competition every year. each company has the opportunity to set their own milestones of the kinds of things they'd like to achieve during the course of that summer. Bar none, the most important thing for us is that they build real companies or real nonprofits. So for us, the focus is, if you haven't become a real legal entity, you become a real legal entity. Our goal is to apply a certain amount of pressure to those teams to figure out sort of where the weak spots are and where the weaknesses are, and sort of cultivate those early so we can get those out of the way. If we understand at an early time that perhaps the people you might be pursuing for your customers may not necessarily be the real paying customers for your product or service, or perhaps if your team isn't quite balanced in the way that it needs to be in order to be successful, we'd have to spend the time during the summer actually working some of those kinks out at an early stage. It's best to sort of figure those things out 6 weeks into start launching your business than it is to then figure out 3 years later that perhaps, oops, we spent all this time building a company around a customer that really doesn't exist or isn't interested in providing the kind of level of service that we're working with.